Did you know that one of the biggest secrets many men, especially those of us over 50, carry is a quiet uncertainty? It's about understanding what truly brings pleasure and connection to the woman in our lives. It's not that you don't care, far from it. But let's be honest, where were we supposed to learn this? School certainly didn't cover it. Casual conversations barely scratch the surface. And those adult films, they often paint a picture so misleading, so focused on performance rather than genuine connection, that they might actually do more harm than good. There's this lingering idea that it's just about getting the job done, but what if that approach is causing you both to miss out on something far deeper, far more satisfying? Because here's a truth many don't realize. Female pleasure isn't a simple switch to flip. It's a landscape, rich and varied. Understanding that landscape doesn't just benefit her, it profoundly changes the dynamic for you, boosting your confidence, deepening the intimacy, and making the entire relationship feel more alive. How many of you have felt that quiet pressure, that uncertainty in the moment? Go ahead, let me know in the comments. Maybe just type yes if this resonates. It helps to know we're not alone in figuring this out. I've spent years talking with men and couples, navigating these very waters. And what I've seen time and again is that when a man shifts from just doing to truly understanding and connecting, everything transforms. The bedroom becomes less about performance and more about partnership. So in this video, we're going to gently pull back the curtain. We'll explore what female pleasure really involves, look at some common pathways, maybe different from what you expect, and discuss how you can be a supportive, confident partner in discovering them together, naturally, without pressure. Now, I'm not promising a magic formula here. This isn't about becoming some kind of expert overnight. But I do believe that understanding these ideas, really letting them sink in, and maybe trying small adjustments, that can make a world of difference. It's about building connection, not just chasing a reaction. By the way, where are you tuning in from today? Drop your state or country below. I always find it fascinating to see where these conversations are reaching. And if you find this conversation helpful, if you believe understanding connection better matters, do me a small favor and hit that like button. It truly helps the channel reach others who might benefit. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on future discussions like this. Your support genuinely fuels this work. Okay, let's start at the foundation. Before we talk about specific experiences, we need to grasp a crucial concept. An orgasm isn't just a fleeting physical event. It's a crescendo, built on a wave of physiological and emotional responses working hand in hand. Part 1. The foundation, more than just a moment. Think of it less like flipping a light switch and more like warming up an engine. There's a process involved. Decades ago, researchers Masters and Johnson gave us a basic map, and it still holds value today. It generally unfolds in stages, and understanding this flow can help you be more attuned. First, there's excitement. This is the spark. Her heart rate might quicken, breathing changes, blood flow increases to sensitive areas. It's the body saying, okay, I'm becoming aware, I'm receptive. This isn't just physical, it's often tied to feeling safe, desired, and emotionally connected. Rushing here is like trying to start a car in 5th gear. It just doesn't work well. Then comes the plateau. If the connection and stimulation feel right, things build. Sensations intensify. This stage is delicate. It requires attentiveness. Are you noticing her breathing? Subtle shifts in her body? This is where being present, truly with her, matters more than any specific technique. A sudden change in rhythm, or a feeling of being rushed or disconnected, can easily disrupt this building wave. If the conditions are right, this leads to the orgasm phase. This is that peak, rhythmic muscle contractions, often involuntary. It can be intense, quiet, vocal, emotional. It varies. But physiologically, the body releases hormones like dopamine, pleasure, and oxytocin, bonding. This is fascinating, isn't it? It's why genuine intimacy can foster such deep feelings of trust and connection afterward. It's the body's way of reinforcing that bond. Finally, resolution. The body gradually returns to its resting state. Now, here's a key difference often misunderstood. Unlike many men, women don't necessarily have a long refractory or recovery period. With continued warmth, connection, and maybe gentle stimulation if she desires it, arousal can be maintained and further orgasms are often possible. But the key phrase there is if she desires it. It's about her experience, not a quota. Understanding this basic flow isn't about ticking boxes. It's about being a more observant, responsive partner. It helps you tune in. Does she seem to be in the building phase? Does she need more gentleness, or is the intensity welcomed? Are you creating an environment where she feels safe enough to let go? This sensitivity is the technique. Part 2. Common pathways to pleasure. Beyond the obvious. Now, let's talk about how these feelings are often sparked. Forget rigid types. Think more about different pathways or zones that respond uniquely. And the most commonly known is often related to external touch. Pathway 1. The sensitive external zone. Clitoral stimulation. There's a reason this area is so well known. The clitoris, especially the visible part, the glans, located typically above the vaginal opening, is packed with nerve endings, thousands more than comparable areas in the male anatomy. Think about that. It's designed for sensitivity. This means even light, precise touch can be incredibly powerful if done right. What is right? Here's where many well-intentioned men miss the mark. It's rarely about speed or pressure, especially initially. Think finesse, not force. Like tuning a delicate instrument. Slow, gentle, perhaps circular or tapping motions, often around the most sensitive spot rather than directly on it at first, can be far more effective. Using lubrication is almost always a good idea to ensure comfort. Pay attention to her body's signals, a change in breathing, a small sigh, a slight shift in her hips. These are your cues. Rushing or being too rough here can be jarring, even painful. Patience is your greatest ally. Some studies suggest many women can reach orgasm through this pathway relatively quickly when the stimulation feels right and the emotional connection is there. But remember, it's not a race. If you notice her responding positively, don't suddenly change everything or assume you need to finish. Maintain that connection, that rhythm she's enjoying. Especially as we age, consistency and feeling emotionally secure often become even more crucial than sheer physical technique. This external zone isn't a magic button, but approaching it with care, sensitivity, and genuine attention can be a profound way to build pleasure and connection. It's about discovery together. Now, what about sensations that seem to come from deeper inside? This leads us to another pathway, one often surrounded by myth and confusion. Are you finding this perspective helpful so far? If yes, maybe drop a pathway 1 in the comments, just so I know these details are landing. And if you have questions bubbling up, feel free to ask. Sharing this video with someone you think might appreciate it is also a great way to spread understanding. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more insights like this. Pathway 2. The deeper internal sensation. G-spot area. You've likely heard of the G-spot. Let's clarify. While the idea of a single magical spot is debated heavily in the medical community, there is an area inside, on the front wall, towards the belly button, usually a couple of inches in, that can be particularly sensitive for some women. It often feels slightly different, maybe spongier or ridged. When stimulated correctly, often with pressure that's firm but not painful, maybe using fingers curled in a come here motion, or through certain positions during intercourse that allow for contact with this front wall, it can lead to a different kind of pleasure. Some women describe it as deeper, fuller, sometimes creating a sensation of needing to urinate, which is normal and related to nerve pathways, not actual urination. But here's the crucial part, and where I want to add a strong personal perspective. This is highly individual. Not every woman finds stimulation here pleasurable. Some find it uncomfortable, and that is perfectly okay. The idea that this is some secret button every man must find puts immense pressure on both partners. It's not a required experience. The most important factor? Communication and comfort. Gentle exploration if she's interested, asking what feels good and paying close attention to her reactions. Positive signs might be arching her back slightly, pressing into the touch. Audible sighs are key. Force or persistence if she seems uncomfortable is counterproductive. True connection here comes from trust. Is she relaxed? Does she feel safe to guide you or tell you what she likes or dislikes? Studies often show higher satisfaction in couples who communicate openly about these things. Forget the myth of the magic spot. Focus on shared discovery and respecting her unique body and responses. This area, if pleasurable for her, is accessed through trust first, technique second. Pathway 3. Indirect stimulation and less common zones. Now, let's touch on areas less commonly discussed, but still part of the potential landscape. Sometimes, pleasure can arise from indirect stimulation. For instance, the area around the anus and perineum, the space between the anus and genitals, has complex nerve connections to the pelvic floor. For some individuals, with explicit consent and extreme gentleness and lubrication, pressure or touch in this region can sometimes trigger sensations that radiate towards the genitals. This is a highly sensitive topic and area. Let me be crystal clear. Exploration here requires enthusiastic consent, absolute trust, and zero pressure. It is not a standard expectation or something to be pushed. If there's any hesitation or discomfort, stop immediately. Safety and respect are paramount. Why even mention it? To acknowledge the complexity of the nervous system, but primarily to emphasize that consent and comfort override everything. Curiosity must always be balanced with deep respect for boundaries. This is perhaps less a pathway for most, and more an example of how interconnected pelvic nerves can be, reinforcing the need for holistic attention and communication. Pathway 4. The power of touch. Elsewhere, e.g., chest, nipples. Did you know that stimulating areas seemingly unrelated to the genitals can sometimes lead to arousal and even orgasm? The nipples are a prime example. Neuroscience actually shows that nipple stimulation activates the same area in the brain that processes genital sensation for many women. Think about that. The brain connection is direct. So, what does this mean for you? It means that gentle, focused attention here, maybe with light touch, warmth from your breath, or soft kisses, can be incredibly powerful, especially when combined with emotional connection. Eye contact, soft words, making her feel cherished. This enhances the physical sensation. It's not just foreplay, it can be a pathway to deep pleasure in itself. For some women, particularly as they value emotional intimacy, perhaps even more with age, this kind of touch can be profoundly satisfying, sometimes even leading to orgasm without any genital contact at all. Again, it's individual, but it highlights that pleasure isn't confined to one spot. Pathway 5. The synergy of blended pleasure. Sometimes the most intense experiences come not from one source, but from two working together. This is often called a blended orgasm. Imagine stimulating the sensitive external area, pathway 1, while also providing the right kind of pressure or contact internally, pathway 2, if she enjoys it. The idea is that activating two different sets of nerves simultaneously sends a stronger, more complex signal to the brain. It's like two streams joining to form a more powerful river. The resulting sensation can feel like it's spreading through the whole body. How do you achieve this? It requires coordination and, again, attentiveness. It might involve using your hand for external touch while movement during intercourse stimulates internally, or using hands in two places. The key isn't complicated acrobatics. It's finding a rhythm that works for both areas simultaneously and watching her responses. Is her breathing changing rapidly? Are muscles tensing in a pleasurable way? These are signs you're potentially creating that synergistic effect. But again, it's not about forcing it. It's about being present enough to notice what combination feels good to her. Sometimes, just holding her hand tightly, maintaining eye contact, Whispering something appreciative as sensations build can be the blending element that deepens the experience emotionally and physically. Presence is powerful. Pathway 6. The full body release. Female ejaculation. Finally, there's a phenomenon sometimes called female ejaculation, or squirting. This is when, typically during intense arousal, and often linked to stimulation of that sensitive front internal wall, pathway 2, some women release a noticeable amount of clear, odorless fluid from the urethra. Let's clear up myths. It's not urine. It's understood to be fluid from glands near the urethra, Skene's glands. It's a natural physiological response for some women, sometimes. The most important thing here? Your reaction. If this happens, acting surprised, disgusted, or making a big deal out of it can create shame or anxiety. A calm, accepting, even appreciative reaction reinforces safety and trust. It should never be a goal or something expected. Putting pressure on her to achieve this is completely counterproductive and misses the point of shared intimacy. If it happens naturally during a connected, pleasurable moment, fine. If it doesn't, that is equally fine and normal. Studies suggest a minority of women experience this regularly, but its occurrence, or non-occurrence, says nothing about the quality or intensity of her pleasure or orgasm. Emotional safety is the key that unlocks the body's potential responses, whatever they may be. So, we've journeyed through the basic stages and explored several different pathways or zones related to female pleasure. What's the big takeaway? I hope it's this. Understanding your partner's body is less about memorizing techniques and more about cultivating attunement. It's about listening, not just with your ears, but with your hands, your eyes, your whole presence. These pathways aren't a checklist, they're possibilities. The real magic happens in the space between you, the trust, the communication, the patience, the willingness to explore together without pressure or expectation. When she feels safe, seen, and cherished, her body is far more likely to respond with pleasure, whatever form that takes for her. Rushing, assuming, or focusing only on a specific outcome often short-circuits the whole process. Remember those potential pitfalls we mentioned at the start? Taking supplements that might weaken you, or in this context, holding on to outdated ideas about intimacy. The antidote is awareness and connection. Ask questions. Share observations gently. Celebrate the small moments of connection, not just the peaks. There's no age limit on learning, adapting, and deepening intimacy. When you approach with care and genuine presence, beautiful things can unfold. What's one thought or takeaway from this discussion that stands out to you? Share it in the comments below. Reading each other's reflections can be really insightful. If this conversation resonated, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We all deserve fulfilling connections at every stage of life. Thank you for watching, and here's to understanding and connecting more deeply.